Yet it's weird.
I love being here with you. I guess I just took this leap of faith simply because it looked like so much fun. I really like the social aspect of being online, but I don't really like Twitter, I don't really like Facebook of where it's like just text. That's less personal.
Yeah.
And VRChat seems to, and I only play VRChat, by the way. VRChat seems to be like this middle ground of being like around people, but at the same time like being online, so it's not like too intrusive.
Like 90% of the people that are on VRChat are 25 and younger because they're exploring the new foundation of VR because nobody knows what VR is going to be or the medium of VR. They don't know, like, how do you sell VR? But the generation of, the age group of people that have the most time on their hands and are, the most energy are young people. And so they're going to take this medium and they're going to bring it up to mainstream. What's that going to look like? I don't know.
VRChat does things that we dreamed about as kids. They do things that we saw in like episodes of Ghost in the Shell. I've had friends from across, I've had American friends and German friends for years, but I now can physically interact. I can virtually interact with them in a way that just nothing else competes with.
Experiencing your friends in VR is like on stimulation overdrive. Yo, let's go to the Japanese flower gardens and with the cherry blossoms. Bam, you're there. Yo, let's go play mini golf on the moon. Well, bam, you're there. The space whale, here it comes.
Look at the size of that thing. It's incredible. I mean, just look at that. That's incredible. This is like a typical VRChat day. You see a dog taking a bath, and that's it. I mean, that's pretty much it.
For us first adopters, we are literally on the frontier. I have no doubt that 10, 15 years from now, they'll talk about experiences like this, and they'll say, this was where it started. This is true We've always been an interconnected society since the dawn of the internet, but this is very real. You know the only complaint I have about this avatar, Cosmic? How small my boobs are.
Don't have what, sorry?
I have really small boobs. Look really small. Okay, so definitely it's over 2 years, maybe
Easily.
2.5.
Yeah.
We've known each other longer than we've had our headsets, for sure. Yeah. I'm not transgender or anything, but I've certainly become very comfortable with identifying as a female. I don't know if I'd ever consider myself transgender or anything, but I do know that if tomorrow someone came up to me and said, I have invented a pill, it will turn you into a woman overnight, I'd be like, I could do that happily. If that sounds the same, if that is right. I'm much more in touch with the state of myself I wasn't aware of before VRChat.
Yeah, you can just pick, it can be anything tonight, I thought, oh, that looks quite cute. I'll wear that. Whereas a bloke's just like, oh, I guess I'll wear jeans and a plaid t-shirt, because that's my wardrobe.
It'll be weird, but I have no issue. I'm a really confident person. I'm pretty good at meeting people for the first time. And we won't be meeting for the first time.
I feel like, as far as like exploring sexuality like on VR, I feel like if you're curious about another persuasion, this is probably one of the best places to do it.
I loved him. Like I don't know why, but it's just like those feelings are very strong, and I didn't expect it. But the problem is that now I'm thinking about like, oh wait, is this gay? Because now it's like even like gay culture. Like I don't like gay culture. I think it's flamboyant for no reason. Why can't I just love someone because I just love them? And I feel like I can explore stuff without in here, and I would love for it to just be normal. Basically, our dating on has been on VRChat, like in the VR sphere. It's weird. All of it's weird, and it's not something that's socially accepted yet, which is a shame because it can be quite amazing. Anywhere you want to go in the world, you're there. So when you cut to the real world and you try to date in the real world in comparison to it, it's just the travel time to get to the place that you want to do the thing. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, so actually my avatar right now that you're seeing is a 3D scan of me. I'm a PhD student studying clinical psychology, and more specifically, I'm very interested in how we can use social VR to treat mental health disorders, because I think that the power of connecting with other people is something that can help to prevent a lot of different disorders. So when we're alone in our room, we can put on the headset and immediately be surrounded by other avatars is extremely powerful for helping people with psychological issues and things like that. I more see the potential to focus the positive effects of VRChat, because VRChat is not built for treating these disorders, and yet it is sometimes treating those disorders. So if we can build something specifically that's designed to treat these disorders, then I think that the power can be harnessed in a way to focus in and really get people recovering, especially younger people, because I think VR in general speaks to younger people, but people of all ages as well will really benefit, I think, from targeted social VR interventions that treat these underlying disorders and things.
I don't know if I'll hug you when I see you. I don't even know if we'll like do a bro shake, like a bro, like a full arm length handshake or something. But I definitely won't bother me. It'll just be very strange for probably like 20 minutes.
You sort of know fine already, because
we've known each other over 2 years.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Oh, he's so big and small.
Yes, I am.
There we go. Looking at it, it's your voice, and now it's like I've seen like a picture of you once.
Yeah.
Before.
Sort of walking up, so you sort of kind of already know them in a sense.
Yeah. It's fun to take the stuff that like in VR. There's things that we log in and we want to do. We're like, let's do this today. Let's go look at new avatars today. Like as if you're going window shopping. Let's go look at avatars all night, and that's the thing we'll do. Yeah. Whenever we're in person, it's like I can do normal things I do with other people. Yes. Like we can go drinking, or let's go to the pub, or you know, stuff like that. Which is weird. That's weirder than the actual meeting. I think actual camping, like
back to basics.
Yeah, there will be a fire.
Yeah.
And tents.
Lots of
and
tents. Cold nights.
Very cold nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not warm down here.
You know, you're connecting people from all across the world, and then I never expected with a guy. Is that weird? Yo, you can answer this one. Why'd you tell him about it?
No.
Yo, why'd you tell him about it?
He thinks it's so funny. Once upon a time, which wasn't very long ago, I met this other VR chatter who most of the time they're on here, they're intimate with other people. And I said, well, how does that work? Because I don't have this whole phantom touch thing. It doesn't work for me. This person said, well, we actually use these remote controlled objects. You control very long distance. So you can be on VRChat, and if you want to be intimate with someone, as opposed to hoping that they just feel something that they most likely won't, you have direct control and you can do whatever you want on your iPhone with this object.
And all you want to do is touch him. All you want to do is hold him and hug him and just grab him, and you can't. So, I mean, this is kind of a way that I can.
I really believe in the whole, like, you should probably try something at least once, just because that's, I mean, it's interesting, right? I played VRChat for, a couple months, 3 months, and I had never even gotten close to the whole, like, that whole crowd. But there's always going to be this crowd in any group or fandom or whatever that kind of brings things to that level. But since this is
it's the ultimate emotional experience. Most people, they want it, the person that they love, they want to have a good time.
Oh, of course.
And that's all it is. It's weird,
well.
okay? I get it's weird.
You get it. It doesn't really matter. See, that's the thing. I would be so worried about being in a documentary, but I don't know. You got to take risks. You got to take chances. You can't really just be too timid your entire life. Otherwise, you miss out on things. And I find that most of the people that are on VRChat are groundbreakers. They're people who, because VR isn't really like an easy thing to come by. You have to know that you really, really want it when you get it, because it's not a light purchase. But most of the people in VR that have VR are usually so unique and have that same mindset that everyone's just friends. Everyone that has VR gets along. Come on.
It's trailblazing.
Hey Shibco, do you want a bite to eat? Have you eaten today?
I didn't actually know that there was a barbecue in this shot.
I'll bring some over. Let me take a seat. Oh, hold on, here you go. Here's yours.
Thank you.
Got it? Don't drop it.
I got it.
You don't want a sandy meal.
This is the first scene in the film, right? This is where the two Shiba, the couple, hang out. I think it's a really important scene. Like the very first moment in the film is actually the first lines kind of set the tone for like the kind of work that you do. And it's such a vulnerable moment that you caught.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to open on something that felt romantic and intimate and kind of quiet. And I liked the idea of including the sound of a world, and you hear it and it's very warm and cozy, and then when you see it, it's silent and quite confusing. And so I like the idea of a fire crackling. This world in particular was not one that I found. It was one that the Shiba dogs that A Wider Screen follows, they showed me this world. It was their world that they go on dates in. I think immediately helps explain where we are and the context of the people that we're going to meet before we meet them, because the film does follow young people.
Yeah. Can you reflect a little bit on meeting the Shiba dogs and what brought you to film them in the context of what you've just said, their desire to be Shibas, and also I guess that intimacy that they had in the piece. How did you kind of come across them, and what made you realize that they were representative of the kind of way that you the world that you see within these spaces?
Sure. The first time I met the Shiba dogs, you actually see it in the film. And a smooth octopus, who's in this kind of anime girl avatar, is describing a typical day in VRChat, and one of the Shiba dogs is taking a shower. And that was the first time I met them, was that day. And I remember speaking with Smooth Octopus, the creator of that world, and just glancing over and seeing them so intimately cozied up together. And their physical relationship with each other, they weren't saying anything, but their physical relationship of just being together was so inspiring to me. The relationship that the Shiba dogs in A Wider Screen had, and also the relationship that Cosmic and Dutch, the two best friends who we meet in real life, the comfortableness to be with each other, and the physical nature of their relationship in terms of gender is something that is at the heart of all my work. I think embodiment, the word embodiment, I kind of was obsessed with that when I was making A Wider Screen, and have been kind of interested in that word and just the context around that in terms of my work. Since now, I'm constantly interested in that word.
And that presence, I think, is primary to part of this discussion about identity, and also I think, exactly what certain these kinds of experiences in VR platforms offers as a alternative to the kinds of presence that we see, in more, I guess, flattened digital spaces. Can you feed them?
No, I was just thinking, how great would it be if you could feed them? I think, obviously, so this world I made the film in 2018, so this world is actually quite outdated now. There's a huge amount of things that we can do in VRChat. You would be able to feed the fish in many modern worlds, but considering this is quite old, we cannot feed the fish here, unfortunately. But they're still very cute, and we can still enjoy watching them. Yeah, and this was an important moment in A Wider Screen for me, just to in terms of being with the characters for a moment of just kind of ambience and understanding the space that they're in a more physical sense. I felt like this fish tank gave a lot of weight to that, because it's easy to get lost, I think. Welcome.
Hi.
It is very Studio Ghibli, isn't it? I really enjoy Studio Ghibli, so, no doubt. I really enjoy this world. Shall we go and explore this puddle-filled
Yeah, please.
Ghibli world? Okay, let's take a walk.
This is
Just here.
This is really gorgeous.
Yeah, this is the end of the walk. It's a short walk, but I think walking amongst those flowers and seeing yourself in the reflection here, if you can pan the cameras down, it is a magical experience to look down and see your virtual avatar. It's so much fun. It's so playful, and I think kicking and splashing in puddles, brings back a kind of childhood joy, at least for me. Maybe that's a very English thing, and that's why I think this world is really special and really helps me connect to a part of myself which is very happy and utopian and joyful. I could go to my wall and do a immersive lean. Let's do an immersive lean. Okay, here we go. Immersive lean. Oh, just be careful you don't fall too far. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this immersive lean. No, I think actually it works. Does it work on camera? The pose?
Some might call the space that we're in hyper-real. I would disagree with that personally, because I think that these kinds of spaces are more... they're more... surreal in a sense, because there is an element of exaggeration to them rather than a hyper-real quality to them.
This space, I would not describe it as a hyper-real environment. I think it's very dreamy. I think it's got like an animated quality to it. And so when you meet your friends in this space and you have an interaction, those connotations I think come with that. Where you have a kind of cinematic quality to your discussion because you're in this surrealist world. I think that comes with surreal environments. In comparison, if you compared this to a hyper-real world, I think maybe it'd be worth mentioning that more of your real self might come with you in those environments because they feel more like real life. I think in spaces like this, maybe your virtual performative self comes out more because it is so unreal. One of the best things about VR, you're in a completely unpredictable environment. It's complicated. I don't know how to explain how users entering a space can affect... Well, I mean... It's a feeling that I think that's the best way I can put it into words.
This world is really gorgeous, by the way. I'm like completely distracted the whole time I'm trying to talk to you.
No, that's good. It's really nice, isn't it? My camera is...
Sorry, I'm confused again. Not confused, I'm distracted.
That's okay, you can let yourself be distracted.
You can go this way.
No, we can't go too far. Oh, look at this. Secret puddle.
Oh, and it's really...
Whoa. Look at this. Oh my gosh. I did not know this existed. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna be filming here. I want to talk a bit about the journey from desktop to VR, because that was a real process for me in learning more about film, and also directing the cast. But I think there's also a lot of interesting changes that happen socially with going from desktop into VR. And so I think we could talk about that, and I thought we could have a game of golf over that conversation. Mini
Absolutely.
golf.
Yeah, let's do it. Mini golf.
All right.
Hilltop Meadows. Let's do it.
Yeah, going from desktop to VR was a huge step. I was investigating what the experience of VR was like and talking about it with people and really trying to understand the space, and my imagination was completely flooded on what that must be like. And so the first time trying it was massive. Everything that I considered about the space and was interested in was true, and it was happening, and it was as real as I had heard it to be. Or too weak. When you're in VR, your social presence is much more defined, and you feel like you're standing in the room with someone, you're standing in the world. When you're in desktop, there is a disassociation that is present in the way that you know you're looking at a 2D screen.
Do you want to take another shot?
Yeah, I do want to take another shot.
We have this shared experience within our organization of people using VR from desktop. You become very aware of what you're missing out on when you're not in VR. And there's very much an immediate feeling of understanding of the limitations of the hardware inputs that you have. And so there's this kind of interesting journey that I think I see, where you started with film in the real world, and then you came out of that into VR. How does that feel?
It's obviously really tough when you are used to filming.
I definitely understand how these spaces that are highly creative have this element that helps with the art direction or the settings of films. You mentioned earlier that like the worlds are characters, and that's definitely true regardless of whether you're filming in VR or on desktop. But your films are based around intimacy, and that's the value of what you see in virtual reality. And so can you reflect a little bit about those dynamics of someone gaining access into early adopter identity and intimacy in these spaces? Did you just sink it? Nice shot. Well done.
Yeah, no, I nailed it.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased. I mean, probably the best shot of our game so far.
Amazing. To finish my question, how does that work? How does the dynamic of being on desktop, you have this barrier between you and the other players, which is then, as you mentioned, kind of broken away by the introduction by you getting VR?
I think it was very tough, because I do think that I don't wish to discriminate VR desktop users, of course, but I do think that a lot of VR users, when they see desktop, there's obviously an understanding that they're getting a flat, kind of slightly lesser experience. Understanding that, I just was very honest in my introductions to what I was doing, and very honest in my voice, and I was very careful around how my voice was tonally, where it was tonally, and what I was saying and how they'd interpret that.
So your voice became an interface.
Yeah, exactly. My voice my voice was the interface. And it's like that, currently in VR as well. But I also speak so much with my body, and it's easier to be with someone when you can feel them. And I worried people couldn't feel me in desktop. And I don't think they really could feel me, because I was a robot too. My avatar was a robot, so I was just this very stagnant robot with hopefully a very warm voice. I'm very sorry. We'll have to pause for one moment. My real life doorbell is going off, and I'm the only one in my household currently. So I'm going to have to go and let them in. Sorry. That's a really interesting question, though. And it made me realize something. I hadn't realized what I just said until that moment, so thank you for that. I'll be right back.
Lightly, are you seeing this?
Absolutely.
That's terrible.
Oh dear. I'm back. How contorted and twisted was I? Oh no. So, let's explain my contorted body. I'm in full body tracking, as we've talked about, so when I go take my headset off, my head stays in one place and my body goes in another place. Thus you get some horrible movements. Sorry about that.
This is kind of a really good example of the work that we've been doing at, that was a bad shot, at New Design Congress around this idea of what we would call aesthetic flattening. And this is this concept that manifests in a number of ways. In the public sort of understanding of it, it really looks like what you would call like Zoom brain, where people get tired from being in a 2D space. So if you think of a keyboard and mouse interaction, that's like the lowest possible resolution that you can kind of see, because it doesn't really represent. Oh, that was a good shot. It doesn't really represent anything that you see with real life interactions. You know, a lot of people talk about video games as being a starting point for getting over this kind of aesthetic flattening, or this decontextualizing of people's lives through digital space. But I don't really see that being the case until you solve the question of hardware. It almost seems that you kind of experienced that change firsthand from this aesthetic flattening, where you were an observer and very much an other in a space that has solved for these issues of deep like depersonalization or alienation, and you've actually kind of managed to find this creative space, both firstly as someone whose humanity has been flattened or who has been compressed by the keyboard and mouse.
I've never...
Was that question confusing? Or did
No,
that make sense?
It makes sense. It makes sense. I think I've never analysed so deeply into the experience of change. I think it was as drastic. That was a good shot. That was a good shot.
Not bad.
You can finish it off. Good lineup. I think it is a drastic change. Yeah.
Check that shot out.
Yeah, amazing shot. Well done. Almost as good as my point blank putt. Yeah, I think what you're saying is very true in this situation of going from desktop into VR. When I left desktop and came into VR, I spent a lot of time just trying to find myself in the space all over again. But coming into VR, you're not talking to people from your own body. You look down and you're not in your own body. I was aware of it in desktop, but I'm more socially present and aware of my body when I'm in VR. And I think that changed the way that I spoke to people. There's something really beautiful in this world, which we haven't pointed out yet, which is something that you can kind of interact with if you're in VR. And it's the light coming through the trees. There's these beautiful God rays that come down through the trees. You can just see them up here on my camera. And if you're in VR, you can put your hands through them. And it will move around. And that's just something that, is a beautiful interaction that this world offers outside of the Gulf.
We've kind of hinted at this for a while now. You have a new film coming that delves a little bit deeper into virtual reality and VRChat.
Yeah, the film is called We Met in Virtual Reality, and it is a very poetically led documentary that has been on my mind since making a wider screen, and really since coming into this space. It's the film that I've been really dying to make.
I get the sense from the trailer and from your work that it's a further exploration of the journeys of self that people have when they discover virtual reality and move into this space and embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a lot of moments, well, a lot of the cast, I should say, are people who are learning about themselves and going through kind of moments of transition, and that can be in regards to their gender, their sexuality, the relationship that they found themselves in, or in a less emotional sense, the film follows a lot of dancers, because dance is very popular in VR, and how they've learnt to dance and how they've found a new form of expression to help give themselves and help find themselves with. Not how this technology is in a technological way, but how this technology is affecting the way we interact and learn about ourselves and other people.
On the one hand, we've talked about the sense of being on desktop disconnects you from these spaces. It's only once you enter with the hardware that you become much more in tune with it, or it becomes much more real in a sense. But then between the social norms that are reintroduced, the idea of seeing the understanding that there's a person there, and that it's no longer just how you present, but also how people perceive you. All of these are true, and yet somehow what's captured in your work is how all of that can be true, and the stakes are lower to then explore really transformative stuff for people. What are you most hopeful for as we come out of this immediate time that we're in right now?
I think coming out of the situation we've been in real life and a very intense production in film, I hope that there is more acceptance in the future, that we just accept each other more. Here, everyone is accepted for who they present and what they present, and I'd like to see that in real life.
What is some of the things that you fear about these spaces in which you've found yourself creatively and personally so involved in?
I think my only fear is that the communities that currently exist in VR, the ones that are driven by people who are completely passionate and are very driven about what they're doing, and there's no monetary reward for what they're doing. It is for people that they will get trod on by people who do want to make money off the system and create an economy. I just want the communities, like prefabs, the world building community, like Helping Hands, the sign language school in VR. There are so many I could mention, all the dance clubs. I want them to be running the economies that grow here. I think that's my fear.
Would you say that the fear is that the economies become more like the real world economies?
Yeah, that is the fear.
I feel like I've been on a really long road trip with you. It's so amazing to talk to you for so long. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
What's your Twitter or your website?
Oh, my website is joeahunting.com and Twitter is @joeahunting.
Thank you. This has been an amazing discussion.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Lightly, for being...
Thank you, camera.
Thank you for being an excellent camera operator.